Welcome back. I'm Andrew, your crypto guy on the internet. We have a few stories to cover, mostly bad news. You know how it is out there. Then I want to show you something that Market Cipher has printed on Bitcoin's weekly chart that has never happened before. We'll discuss that briefly. And then I want to show you a video of Yuval Harari, who is the lead advisor to Klaus Schwab, who's the leader of the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, they're the ones behind the green movement and eating bugs, and you will rent everything, you won't own anything, and you'll be happy. You know Klaus Schwab, the guy who looks like a dystopian sci-fi movie bad guy? His lead advisor. So we're going to listen to this guy, Yuval, talk for a few minutes. And I just want you to just let it marinate, and then you'll see why I'm so into crypto. Okay, so first let's just look at the market. It's been lousy. But Market Cipher has printed a yellow X on Bitcoin's weekly chart for the first time ever. A lot of firsts going on here. Now, a blood diamond means you're screwed. And indeed we were. The price has fallen about, more than half what it was since that blood diamond. To be fair, the rest of the market has fallen too, the same or worse. The yellow X is a symbol for market manipulation, generally, meaning the price action does not match what it should be. And in this case, the price should be higher. Not a lot higher, but like 25, 26,000 instead. We're at like 19, 20,000. And historically, when you see a yellow X, that's when like they're shorting the shit out of a stock or something. There's nothing you can do. It has nothing to do with the stock's actual performance numbers. It's just being destroyed on the market by institutions. And it looks like that's what's happening to Bitcoin at this point. The price is artificially low. So could it go lower? Sure. But even here we have a little bit of a green line indication, which would usually mean the price should go back up, and it hasn't. And then I'll show you something similar. Another thing I wanted to note. Bavarian Nordic. Now, this is the company that's making all of the monkeypox vaccines for the world, basically. Now, the American zeitgeist hasn't really gotten scared of monkeypox as much as the media has tried. And although there was a bit of a fright there for a second and the stock went straight up, it's come down quite a bit. And if you look at this RSI on the daily, the move is getting weak. You see how these lines are separating? That usually signals the beginning of like a reversal of a movement here, okay? So I'm expecting Bavarian Nordic maybe go down a little more, but as soon as there's any kind of stability in the market or the market sentiment, this should come back up. That's what I'm thinking. It's not like there's another monkeypox company that's competing with them right now. This is the only game in town, okay? So as soon as people chill out, I think Bavarian goes back up if you jumped on them. But it doesn't really matter who you are. You're taking a hit. I mean, Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, everybody's taking a hit because the whole market is scared. Now, Warren Buffett's biggest play, the Occidental Petroleum, they were doing great. And even they took a hit. So if your stock portfolio and your crypto portfolio is looking lousy, it's not your fault. Probably. The DXY is rocketing to the moon right now. And when the DXY goes up, the market goes down. That's just how it goes. Now, why is the DXY going up? Because Europe is turbo fucked. They are in bad shape with inflation. Now, 9.1 is bad, but it's worse than that. I mean, you have people, and it's all from, it's not all from, but it's largely exacerbated by this conflict with Russia and Ukraine. Now, you know how Europe tried to go green with renewable energy when in reality they were just buying all their natural gas from Russia? Well, Putin has turned them off. And now there's widespread panic. You got people in Germany, which is the wealthiest nation in Europe. You got Germans going out into the woods, normal people, chopping down trees for the first time ever in their life just to have something to burn and keep themselves warm for the winter. It's bad, okay? You got lines miles long, people trying to buy coal to keep their houses warm because they cannot afford energy prices. Energy inflated by about 40%? It's really much higher than that. People are paying 100, 200% more for electricity. That's insane. Going into the winter, people who are already cutting it close, they're going to freeze. And this puts some pressure on the UN to push for peace talks with Zelensky and Putin and all that. And the longer I look at this siding with Ukraine thing, the less sense it makes for us. Zelensky is not a good dude. Okay, now Putin's the bad guy here, but Zelensky's not a good guy at all. We have secret bioweapons labs in Ukraine that were supposed to be dismantled at the fall of the Soviet Union. They were not. We've been funding and operating those bioweapons labs this whole time. Putin knows that. He's not happy about it. The Russians have taken over a nuclear power plant in Ukraine, and Ukrainians are shooting at it and then saying that the Russians are, even though they're the ones inside. It's just not a good look. We're sending billions of dollars of weapons and aid to Ukraine, and then half of it just gets stolen or sold on the black market, sometimes stolen by Ukrainian officials. Like a whole train was taken full of stuff for them. Like this whole thing is a waste of money. It's a big scam. Like I'm sorry for the people of Ukraine. I'm sorry if you donated to these people, but it's like throwing money into a fire, and it's costing the rest of us. People are going to be freezing to death. Okay, so come up with some peace talks right away, or this is just going to keep going. This is going to go up to 120, and whatever investment you have is in big trouble, unless you got some dry powder to spend, and then you can get everything dirt cheap, which it already is, but you can get it even cheaper theoretically. The other concern, of course, is China, Taiwan. We're kind of a mixed bag in terms of how Congress wants to respond to that. You got some people saying, nah, let Taiwan be its own country, and the other half saying, no, Taiwan's a part of China, we're just going to let that ride. But I guess it depends on which of our politicians have insider deals going on. Like Nancy's got some computer chip deals going. She's got a few $1 million on the books. They're paying her about $3 million a year. So she shows up. China gets upset. They're sending ships out there to look scary. They're shooting missiles over Taiwan, but no bombs have dropped officially, but they're flexing their muscles. China's economy is hollowed out. It's about to collapse, just like ours, just like Europe's. It's all a mess for everybody right now. So, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to look at the numbers. The jobs report was, lousy, but not too bad. It wasn't too good. It wasn't too bad. It was about expected. That's great. The seller's market for housing, 1 in 5 home sellers are now dropping their asking price. Now, remember the housing market was like out of control, where you could list your house that was worth $300 for like $350 or $400 and get it sold in a day. Well, that's slowing down. Okay, we knew this was going to happen. So the stock market tanks, then the housing market tanks, then people start getting fired. That's the order of operations here. And basically everybody knows that we're in a recession, and that it's going to be a bad one going through 2023. That's just how it's going to go. Okay, the fear and greed index is back in the dumps. The next Fed meeting is September 21st, coming up here pretty soon. Jerry's going to come out. He's going to hit us with either 50 points or 75 basis points, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. And then Joe Biden delivers his Soul of the Nation speech, which it's supposed to, unify the nation. Instead, he called half of us extremists and the enemy, which is pretty much what you would say as a fascist. It's just a mess. This guy someone just needs to let him go. Just let him go to sleep. All right, we need to start over here. So now we're calling him Hitler. Marjorie Taylor Greene compares Joe Biden to Hitler. Everybody's Hitler now, so nobody's Hitler. Okay, you gotta enough with the Hitlers. Now, what's most important? This is why I'm into crypto. Now, just listen to this guy. Yuval Harari is a lead advisor of Klaus Schwab, who's the author of COVID-19, The Great Reset, and the founder of the World Economic Forum. So Klaus Schwab, he kind of delivers ideas or policies to major governments, and then the governments tell it to the media, and then the media tells it to us, and if you disagree, you're a fascist, okay? Now, when you're talking about globalists, Trump's in the way of them, so they do everything they can to destroy him, and then Putin hates these people too. So the main objective of some of the headline objectives of the WEF, the World Economic Forum, is no more borders, no more individual nations, no more individual constitutions or governments, okay? And then no more owning land or owning a car or any of that. You're going to rent everything. And then no more meat, okay? You're going to have to eat bugs. Now, the elites, they're going to have nice steak, and they're going to have a Bentley and their own few mansions, and they're going to have all the farmland. But you just watch your TV, okay? We're going to fly everything you need to you in a drone at top dollar with no competition. And then you're going to be happy, okay? Everything's going to be a subscription service, and you're going to do as we say, or since everything's operated through a central bank digital currency, we'll just turn your money off. We're also going to run a social credit score, so if you say something we don't like or we hear you speak out against Klaus and the boys, we'll have you blacklisted from just about everything. All right, so anyway, this guy, Yuval Harari, was a New York Times nonfiction bestseller at the time of this talk. Listen to this.
We don't have to wait until Christ's second coming in order to overcome death. A couple of geeks in a laboratory can do it if you give them enough time and money.
You have a lovely passage where you say, looking at the world today, God seems to be making a comeback, but this is a mirage. God is dead. It just takes a while to get rid of the body.
God is dead. It just takes time to get rid of the body, and the Harvard students laugh in agreement.
I don't think life has any meaning.
Life has no meaning. Everyone laughs.
So in that sense, it's not a strong counter argument. I know that many religions and philosophies have based the meaning of life on death and what happens after death, but I think these are all fictional stories that people have invented through history. They are not the truth. Throughout history.
So these religious texts, anything you've read, it's just stories. It's all fake. There's no God. Okay. Life has no meaning either. All right.
Death was kind of the great equalizer. I mean, the poor people always told themselves, say in the Middle Ages, yes, now these rich people, they have all the good things in life, but they will die in the end, at least that. Just think what it means to be a poor person in a world when you die, but the rich continue to live young and beautiful forever. I mean, it's a cause for a lot of anger. Think about the Bible, for example. So in the first book of Genesis, what God does is to create animals and plants and humans. And we now want to gain this ability to ourselves, to manufacture animals and plants and humans. And we even go beyond God. I mean, even if you believe in the Bible, the only thing the God of the Bible managed to create is organic beings. He managed to create the cows and the tomatoes and the giraffes and the humans, all organic. Now we try to go beyond the God of the Bible and create inorganic life.
Yeah, God just couldn't figure out inorganic life. He only made everything that lives. I mean, that's just not good enough. Why didn't he make cell phones and shit, dude? Like, we can do that. We're so much better. So inorganic life is not life. It's not alive if you can unplug it and it's dead. So this guy's version of life is something that depends entirely on an energy source that can run out, where God's creations are infinite. His hairline is not infinite, but people live and then they die. Like nature, things live and die, and it's just this infinite cycle that works no matter what climate change is happening. There's ice ages, there's heat waves, there's earthquakes, and somehow the universe continues on because God's system is perfect, flawed subjectively, but ultimately perfect and infinite. Inorganic life is not. But he's better than God. God doesn't exist. He's dead anyway, according to this guy.
Either according to the Bible or according to biology. For 4 billion years, all of life was organic, and now we want to create inorganic life. That's really, divinity is not far enough to describe what we are trying to do. Like the soul and the afterlife and things.
Okay, quick add-on here. This guy's trying to manipulate human DNA and mixing robotics with humans. So you're like partially synthetic. You have like a chip in your brain that can like email people, which is cool, but you're still organic life. You're still a person. And AI replacing humans isn't exactly a goal that we want for ourselves because we'll be dead, right? So I don't see why this guy should be in charge of the world.
It's like that. The main task of God was to ensure agricultural production and victory in war. If you read really the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, it's all about agricultural production. It's about rain, it's about pestilence, it's about fertility. And
yeah, that was what people focused on back then.
now we are much better than the God of the Bible.
Okay, you never want to say that you're better than the God of the Bible if you've read the Bible, because you see what happens to people who say that.
I mean, in the Bible, you have these recurring droughts that the people of Israel do something wrong, God's become angry, drought, no water. And now Israel has built, in recent years, a huge desalinization factory on the shores of the Mediterranean. And most drinking water in Israel today actually come from these plants, from these factories. So we can make God as angry as we like. I mean, he can stop the rains. We don't care.
So then why are we funding, all this Green New Deal stuff? Why are we destroying third world countries for ESG ratings if we can just print as much water as we want?
We still have water because science has managed to go way beyond the expectations of the ancient Hebrews. I think the most interesting place today from a religious perspective is Silicon Valley. My bet is this is where the new religions of the 21st century are being created, will be created, and these will be kind of techno-religions, religions based on technology, religions that make all the old promises of Christianity and Judaism and Hinduism and so forth. They will also promise happiness and prosperity and justice and even eternal life, but here on earth with the help of technology and not after we die with the help of superhuman beings. And in a way, I would say that we've already seen the first big techno-religion in history in previous century, and this was socialism. Nationalism breeds conflict.
Okay. A new techno-religion, which is socialism. Okay, you see where this is going.
And war with other nations. It's still a danger in the 21st century, but in the 21st century, the much bigger danger is that nationalism will prevent us from countering the global challenges.
You just said we have God powers now and can control our environment and create drinking water so we can make God as mad as we want. So now he's trying to dismantle the idea of having individual nations. We don't want independent thought. So any nation that has like free speech or guns or any way that could fight back or think for themselves, they're going to be a problem.
Characterize this century. There is no nationalist answer to global warming. You cannot solve it on a national basis, which is why nationalists, at least sometimes, tend just to deny the problem. There is no global warming. And similarly with disruptive technologies, like bioengineering or artificial intelligence, you cannot confront these problems on a national basis. If you have a ban in the US on genetic engineering humans, it won't be effective if China or Korea is not on board. And very quickly, the US will break its own ban because nobody would like to stay behind. You must have global cooperation to confront these challenges. And this is why I think nationalism in the present context is very problematic and dangerous.
Okay, so the main issue here, especially with the green movement, is any nation that doesn't go to renewables becomes number one in power overnight. And right now you're seeing that with Russia and China. They're the two major world powers right now that are taking huge advantage of the West, because the West, Europe, United States is what I mean, they're going green, but you still need fossil fuels to create day-to-day things and to really power anything. And so the countries that still have the fossil fuels, the old way of doing things, become the wealthiest. And the best way, and so now he's concerned really of like, third world countries, developing nations that are dirty, okay, with how they operate things, because they don't have much money. They're just doing the best they can to like get by right now. They're trying to advance. The way to clean up a nation is to ensure economic prosperity, because once a nation becomes wealthy, then they start worrying about the environment. So really what we want to do is to empower these smaller nations, and so they can catch up in that way. Once their neighborhood is nice and they got plenty of money, then they go, okay, well, let's clean up the streets now, right? This guy just wants to crush all individual countries and just have one world power direct everyone. Which, I mean, how could that backfire?
It doesn't mean that we won't go along that path. Humans don't always do the right thing. So the 21st century might revolve around the fears and problems and hopes of a new massive useless class. People who are useless, not from the viewpoint of their mother or children, but useless from the viewpoint of the political and economic system.
Oh, they're useless if they don't play along with the political and economic system that we want. The useless class, which he goes into in other videos. But the point is right now, like right about that point, this guy should stand up and strangle him. Strangle him, choke in his throat. And the entire crowd, who just agreed with him that life is meaningless and it's fine, don't worry, I'm doing you a favor. You're going to meet God. You're going to see that he's real. And if you die and it's just blackness, don't worry, there's no pain. Life is meaningless anyway. You are part of the useless class to me. Now, that's what should happen. This guy does something. Someone in the crowd says something. No one does. Harvard.com. They're all on board with this stuff. So, there's no God. It's all a lie. God is dead. We're better than God anyway. And we're going to create a borderless world that we control from the top. That's part of it. Klaus Schwab, part of the Great Reset, which is not a conspiracy theory. Literally a book you can buy and read. You're all going to be renters. You're not going to own anything, and you're going to eat bugs, except for the elite class. So they're buying up all the farmland. They're crushing any small individual thought. Any big person who gets in the way of globalism is smashed through the media, okay, like Trump and or Putin. And that's just the way it is. So if you want any individual strength, you're going to have to get a gun and some cryptocurrency, okay? Run a business that's outside of these people's control, hopefully. But if you want to maintain any kind of independent strength or ability, any sovereignty with your own money, have some cryptocurrency like Bitcoin that cannot be centralized. Ethereum is going to be great here in the short term, but it's becoming more centralized after this merge. Bitcoin is not centralized. It's really hard to take over. It's almost impossible. So have some Bitcoin in your back pocket just in case this comes true. And it really looks like it is, because that's the way all of this is going. So you have Barack Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, they're all on board with this. And this is why I wanted to bring it up. This is another thing I have in the back of my mind is why I'm super into crypto, because I know this crap is coming. Anyway, have a great day.